My commitment in the world is to unleash humanity's brilliance and catalyze the next generation of conscious leaders to embody a new era of humanity. In 2019, I was at the peak of my career and my life, proving it was possible to have it all. My dream of 8 years to take the stage as a TEDx speaker finally was becoming true. Selected among 80 applicants to speak to an audience upwards of 4,000, I was to speak on the topic of finding peace in times of chaos. My business leader icon, Roger James Hamilton, that I had been following for years, was finally my mentor, and I had just completed a record revenue year in my passion business, working with the best people on the planet of social impact entrepreneurs. Forbes had asked me to come be a regular contributor, and I was asked to even speak alongside world-renowned global expert Dr. Deepak Chopra. And that year, I got to take 9 weeks of vacation off, have ample time with my family. My husband and I took honeymoon and date nights each week, and at the drop of a hat, I had the freedom to go chaperone for my son's school activities. That same year, I also traveled the world and went on an epic Journey of Lights tour for India, Nepal, and Tibet. We went each day from ground zero, ascending a level of consciousness, from Gandhi's grave, paying tribute, to the glorious Taj Mahal, taking lessons from Bollywood dancers, to enjoying the peaceful sides of Nepal, where we got to provide school supplies for a girls' safe house there, all the way to the last day where we're literally chanting with monks at the top of the Himalayas in Tibet. I had arrived. Little did I know, in 2020, the hardest part of my life was about to pass. Up until then, I thought the hardest part was growing up with my undiagnosed PTSD father, a Korean War orphan whose first memory was bombing planes over a city as he had to flee south on his grandma's back. Or maybe it was being in labor pains, water birthing my son without any drugs, tearing myself at birth where I couldn't urinate for days without feeling the sting. Or maybe it was when my family pretending all was well on the outside, when in fact we were living off food stamps. I had to borrow money from my mom in secret. Now it's March 2020. I'm in San Diego. I'm at this gorgeous marina at a business conference mastermind with my mentor, Roger, standing next to me in front of 50 well-respected peers and social impact entrepreneurs. I've just presented my business plan on this PowerPoint that reveals all my numbers that I have spent 3 months meticulously, carefully crafting and strategizing everything that had worked the prior year to go into the next. As I finish up, Roger looks at me and he's like, "Anna, are you inspired by this?" I want to say yes, but I shake my head no. He turns to the rest of the room. "Are any of you inspired by this?" Not a hand goes up. My face flushes, and I feel like I got caught with my pants down, so to speak. How did I miss this? How did I just waste 3 months devoting my life to this plan that I didn't even realize had no spirit, no life? A few days later, I come home, the pandemic hits, everything shuts down, expecting my TEDx talk to get rescheduled to a future date, it just gets canceled. It does get moved to Zoom, where instead of speaking on that stage to 4,000 people, I'm talking to the pinhole camera, trying to figure out AV while dogs are barking and lawnmowers are going off and toddlers are screaming next door to try to get a clean audio take. Normally a frequent flyer where I get to go on my nourishing meditation retreats for well-being, everything's canceled, including my energy mastery certification in the beautiful Red Rocks of Sedona that I've waited 8 years to go to. My son, who gets to see his grandparents for the first time and fly on a plane, gets canceled. My business goes from generating $20,000 a month to an all in-person events to nothing. And I'm trapped online at home alongside my husband 24/7, who's also now remotely working, homeschooling my son. And the only quiet place we can ever find is in the bathroom when all three of us are on Zooms. I'm sure many of you can remember those days. That was hard. But the hardest part of all was actually not knowing who I was anymore. The high-achieving mom entrepreneur who had always produced results for whatever I set my mind to was now paralyzed, in the unknown, unclear of what next step to take. Even if I tried to follow that business plan, void of any passion, I could try to work harder, but for what? I didn't know what was going to give me life. All of the traits and all of through the recessions and the hardships that had carried me were now totally irrelevant. In fact, could be a hindrance. The game had changed entirely with new variables and measures that were constantly changing. And what used to work just didn't anymore. It took a while for me to accept this and take that next step, to put a pause on business long enough to explore inside. It wasn't until a 16-day road trip that next year with my family, my husband Leo, my son Eli, that we traveled from the majestic mountains of Seattle down into the towering redwoods of California, into the Grand Canyon, that I granted myself space and silence. Immersed in nature, offline. It's day 10. I'm sitting in the camper van. The sun is setting. Leo and Eli have gone out to get some water. And I grab my ukulele. And in that space and that silence, I birth my first original song. You are okay and all is well. Smile and breathe, relax and enjoy your pleasures now. You are okay and all is well. Smile and breathe, relax and enjoy your pleasures now. Granting myself the space and the silence was the key. It became the access to realizing a passion I didn't even know I had, called songwriting. What would granting more space in your life look like? What passion might reveal itself from within? Then I did the unthinkable. I invested a large sum of money, not in some business money-making venture, but just in myself in something called the Songwriter's Journey for fun. And within 6 months, I went from refusing, do not call me a singer-songwriter, and if asked to speak or sing in public, I would say, no, even to 2 people on Zoom, to going on a global stage at a world peace concert, alongside a 7-time Emmy Award winner and other rock stars, releasing my second original song. And I've captured this whole journey. You may have seen my poster last year that also talked about it, but it's called Enraptured. It's a paper in the journal, returning to an original created self, where you will see how surrendering and allowing to the passion as the guide in that unknown, taking you one step at a time. Prior to that, singing, songwriting was never on my radar. Life is too busy with other commitments. I don't have time for this frivolous hobby that doesn't make money. Always on the back burner. Once I activated the innate passion inside, it became this addicting elixir of creation. No longer did I need to find or search for passion outside myself. It was always there since utero. Consider waiting to be realized. Now consider you're the same. What passion is already within you, waiting to be realized if you allow and surrender to it. Fast forward, I landed a second TEDx talk on shifting from burnout to brilliance. In person, yay! And after months of preparation, just 3 weeks before going live, I became bold and did the unthinkable. I scrapped the whole talk. It was too strategic, too calculated, like that business plan in San Diego. And instead, I followed a creative songwriting process. You surrender any agenda, even any outcome, and you just download from source. And I stopped worrying, what will make the difference for them? What do they want? And I just allowed inner wisdom to come out. Memorizing every word, every nuance, and move on stage, I let loose that day, breaking wildly out of the mold than the traditional inspiring keynotes from the podium. I danced coming on stage, and I sang a cappella coming off. It was like a concert. I had a cell phone even go off at these poignant moments of inspiration multiple times, but I wasn't thrown off. I was having too much fun being myself and sharing from the heart. That talk, Burnout to Brilliance, ended up generating 100,000 views in the first 30 days. I had someone, I didn't even know, I had someone linked in me a direct message. Hey, did you know you're in the top 10 TEDx talks? I'm like, what? She's like, yeah, there's been 1,400 talks. You placed in the top 10. Now that I allowed and surrendered to my passion, I felt ignited to really go after unleashing my soul's joy. That's when a seed emerged from last year's conference. A childhood dream came alive to create the ultimate work of art that could converge in one glorious place all the things that I was passionate about. Music, poetry, video editing, documenting, enlightenment, energy mastery. I hired a piano teacher, Bobby Ray, and we wrote 3 new original songs in totally different genres, just to play with it, with each lyric lovingly infused with energy, heart, and intention of global enlightenment, my commitment. Bobby, to my delight, ended up being also a sound engineer and arranger, who then created a medley that you can experience, if you haven't already, in this year's video poster that I invite you to watch if you haven't already, titled Journey of the Soul, where enlightenment is actually mapped on the body, and each of the mind, the heart, and the gut. Each song represents a different chakra, energy center, that evokes your own body to feel activated with energy just by watching. But the real work of art was the process of allowing and surrendering in the unknown. The poster is just the result. No longer on the back burner, my passion now was this bright, shining beacon, no longer on the back burner, guiding me. Passion became my partner, no longer tethered by some strategic, past-based conversation. For you, what passion will you allow and surrender to in your life? How can you have passion be your partner? This passion spilled out into other areas of passion like martial arts. That's when I became and committed to being a black belt for no particular good reason. And I also became a Qigong Tai Chi energy master. I joined the USA Qigong performance team, and we had an amazing performance to Beyonce's I Was Here in New York at the New Humanity Festival, and again in Sedona at the World Peace Ceremony. Later, my team went on to South Korea and competed globally, and they won gold. But my successes as a singer-songwriter or winning gold with our team doesn't last. My world crumbled again. And in 2023, failures upon failures stacked up. Whether it was severely not meeting my business revenue goals, even remotely, questioning the intimacy of my 20-year marriage with my husband, Leo, butting heads all the time with my son who was entering middle school, 12-year-old, Eli, and my dear music mentor, who had also now become a new business mentor, suddenly ghosted after we were meeting 3 times a week. All the visions of music seemed to fall away. My right-hand person on my business side just up and left. And this all happened at once. And then our renter turned out to be a hoarder with 2 little kids, left all his stuff behind. I remember walking through the door, but I can't open it. I look inside and there's trash piled to my knees. I smell a rotten stench. There's rotting food and there's black mold in the bathroom. The junk removal company had to deny the job, mostly because of the gnarly cockroach infestation. We don't get cockroaches in Seattle, wearing hazmat suits. And on top of that, our cat Max, lovely guy, brought in flea eggs that did not last for, I thought, 2 weeks, but 2 months, where I wear 5 layers of socks when I work so I don't get 64 flea bites. And each time I go to bed, we're scanning for those jumping black dots. We had to rip out our entire 2nd floor of carpet for some sanity. Yet, this time I felt grateful. I realized I designed my life circumstances to get the lesson that I am enough. I'm not my failures. I'm not my business results or achievements or social media impressions or bank account. I'm not my thoughts, my actions, or even my words or thoughts. I am enough for simply existing. It wasn't until everything had failed at once could I get that life lesson that I had designed. Here, I am enough. Often, we treat our failures and our fears like some scary dragon that's guarding the cave of our jewels and treasures, of our essence, of our true self. And we're like, oh, how do I fix this or get rid of it or overcome it? How do I slay the dragon? Maybe trick it. But no. What if we befriended the dragon, even loved it? When you make friends with failure and fears, that's actually the fast track to embodying source, your original created self now. You have an opportunity to be grateful as it's happening, not in hindsight, for that failure. What fears in your life could you love on and befriend? What current failures right now are happening can you be authentically grateful for and guiding you back to where you want to be? In a moment, I would love to sing an excerpt from an original song, Horizon, that officially releases today at this global conference. Yay! So you can find it online on any main music platform. Horizon is part of a medley that is also in my video poster this year, titled Journey of the Soul, that you can experience. And Horizon's lyrics is really a dialogue with my soul and captures a lot of these talking points of today's keynote. That when you fail and fall down, you're not going backwards. Growth is a cycle, an upward spiral. So next time you fall, because you inevitably will on the path of success, why not enjoy the ride? It's your conscious evolution as a human. I'm feeling down, stuck in a hole. I don't know how or where to go. This hole is cold. I'm feeling broke and I'm chained down here, shackles on my throat. I try to get out. I want to scream and shout, clenching my jaw and my hunger is strong, suppressing the sound. But I hear a voice calling me. You're the one to set yourself free. Whispers from the heart, we are not apart. Wake up, will you let me? 'Cause I'm here now, alive and rising, like the sun always shining bright inside. I can see the stars soaring past the horizon, from the depths of the oceans to the sky. When I come back around again, let me enjoy free falling. What goes up must come down. I can trust in the sound of the silence that speaks to me. I'm not where I used to be. I am higher, and that fire inside me's burning brighter. Every cell in my body breathes energy and ecstasy. Feel the tsunami life force coursing through me. May today be your new start.